talking about your schooling when you were growing up.
Eurythmy? Oh, sorry, Waldorf. Yeah.
Waldorf.
Yeah.
What is eurythmy?
That's the special dance thing.
Oh. Yeah, so I was thinking about that quite a bit, and I know a few teachers up here, and I talked to them about that, not you specifically, but that concept. And I kind of remembered and realized that I have a lot of pretty strong opinions about teaching methodology and early age schooling. And I was trying to come up with a new design for early age schooling, up until
a WTBI school.
Yeah, I called it Jarrett School for Youngsters, but we could also call it WTBI School.
I mean, what's the big idea is a good name for a school.
That is a good name for a school, or a schooling method, because Waldorf is a series of schools, right?
Yeah, it's a central philosophy by Rudolf Steiner, but there are a number of schools around the United States and the world.
Yeah, so maybe the philosophy is the WTBI philosophy, but I mean, the stuff I would say about it is pretty real. I feel like early age school could really benefit from, instead of going specific to general, which seems to be how it happens. You learn very specific knowledge early on in school, like dates and facts, and then you go to general, where I never really was educated in ideas of inductive or deductive reasoning until after college, which I was never necessarily going to get to. So I feel like flipping it and really focusing on problem solving, deduction, question asking, model building.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because kids ask a lot of questions. They're already the world's best scientists.
Yeah.
And then later, I've always found that when I actually want to know something, I retain the knowledge a lot better. When I'm asking a question because I need to know to solve a problem, I retain the knowledge a lot better than if I'm just given arbitrary knowledge, this is when George Washington was born, or this is how many...
1998.
1998? Is that what you said, Mark?
Is that wrong?
I'm sure there was a George Washington born in 1990.
Yeah, probably.
I really like the idea of starting deductive and logical reasoning very early, and kind of that before you get into mathematics and stuff like that, just basic decision making and kind of rational thought. And I understand that some people believe that those things are kind of tied together, learning mathematics kind of leads you to logical reasoning, but starting from that basis as opposed to memorization, I think would benefit the populace so much. If everybody came out of kindergarten.
Now, because we live in an information age where you can easily access any fact on the internet at any time.
Yeah.
Or non-fact.
Well, you know what I mean? But that's where reasoning would come in.
Deductive reasoning
Yeah, you'd be this is
right.
clearly a false statement.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's some challenge with class sizes, and I think it's a lot easier to tell 30 kids at once that George Washington was born in 1998 than it is to go through identifying a problem and identifying the steps to answer that problem.
Right.
Yeah.
But I still think there's a lot of benefit to flipping that order.
I'll actually say one of the major benefits of Waldorf as a school, not that I in any way want to represent that I support that schooling system or anything, but one thing that I remember that I appreciated as an adult was that they allowed us to do stuff like play, very early on. One of our things was guided capture the flag sessions, but it was very ornate. It wasn't just run at each other and try and get the flag. People broke off into groups and were hiding in the underbrush and army crawling up to get the flag, and other groups were intentionally sacrificing themselves to distract the enemy team.
John?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hold on. Jared and I came up with something at the same time that's probably the same thing. So he's going to write something down on his phone. I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's probably not the same, but go ahead.
It might be. Is your real name Andrew Wiggin?
Jesus. Boom.
Wait, is that what you wrote down your phone?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's awesome though. That sounds really. I wrote down Ender's Game childhood.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Anyway. I like that. Yeah, I do like the idea of like gamifying, like a lot of learning through games and strategy and like tactics just for identifying problems. Like, why is this not working? Why aren't we winning? How can we go about solving it? That sounds fun. Anyway, that's all. We can.
If we have a school,
Yeah.
I want to be a teacher who wears all black all the time. And
Okay, Snape.
Yeah, I almost wrote Snape on my phone too. And like really hones in on one child for some reason. but his spoiler alert.
I know that their dad stole my girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's a kid. Yeah, it's a kid whose both of his parents are dead.
All black. All black. I like scowl at kids a lot in the hallways. I tell them to like behave themselves.
Yeah.
But like no one's sure what the fuck I teach. Like, no one's ever taken a class from me. Ever.
Snape.
Do kids come to your classroom at any point?
So here's the thing. When they do, this will be like late middle school, early high school at some point. When they do, they're like, "What do you teach?" And I'll close the book that I'm reading. I'll be like, "What do you want to learn?" And then fucking, I just get more and more students because they keep telling them about our freeform, like, awesome class time.
But when word travels around the school and more kids are attending Mark's lectures, I did air quotes, and like they're spending all of their time in this class and like they're like not going to their other classes, and then they come out and they like really feel very confident about their knowledge. But then
Mark just started a cult?
Well, he has a huge following. That's true. But then like another teacher, like other teachers come to the class and they get to the class and Mark is just like saying things like George Washington was born in 1998. He's just like spreading like these really like none of it is real.
Faceless lies.
People are wondering how can he have so much knowledge in so many different fields that he can like field all the questions that the kids have, and the answer is that he's lying all of the time.
Well, lying is such a subjective thing, right? Like history is what you create it to be.
No one has ever said that. That's not a tagline.
So what you're saying is that the year of George Washington's birth is subjective.
The birth of a George Washington is subjective.
I see.
And who you decide to call the founder of your nation,
It's subjective.
is subjective.
Not my founder.
Oof. Let's do products by association.
Yeah, that's right.